All right, we are live. Good morning and welcome to Wake Up with ZRL, episode 2. This week we have a recap of what went down last week. I know we've had a week off, but we're looking back at what happened at Brazil, and then we're moving forward to Suzuka, going to Japan, and quite a week on our hands. Oh, let's get this fixed real quick. Sorry, guys. How do I fix it?
Oh dear.
There you go. No,
That's
we're
the
good.
best.
No, yeah.
Oh my. Oh god.
Did we have
A
big
whole
Revis
lot
on
of
the screen?
Triple screen Revis. Completely unnecessary and
Maybe-
unwanted by anyone.
Maybe we should leave it that way. Yeah. So real quick, we did have a race last night. We had our academy race. So and we'll go ahead and give out the podiums of that. Davies went ahead and came out the win. Beamer and G came out with the second place. And we have a new guy, Corrupt, actually came out in third place. I think he's actually part of the Mercedes Academy. So congrats on that, Revis.
Correctamundo, yeah.
Um,
Another new driver. Hadn't had a chance to talk to him yet, but man, it's really impressive. Come out and ball out like that. Suzuka's not an easy track.
No, it's not. It's not at all. But real quick, we had a video come in from last night that I wanted to share with everyone. I thought it was pretty funny, so let's go ahead and take a look.
During the S's, but it looks like Beamer's already going defensive. It's just kind of delaying the oh yeah. Ooh, with the massive Tokyo drift, Beamer still keeps it clean.
So that was
Wow.
actually Beamer and G, our podium P2, going Tokyo drift style through Japan. I don't know if the track's in Tokyo, actually. So I don't know how much that works. But what do you say, Revis? What do you give it out of 10?
I would. So he didn't break 90 degrees. So I'm gonna give him 8.5 out of 10.
8.5 out of 10. What do you give him, Adam?
I'm gonna go with a 9 because the fact that you caught an F1 car after you lose grip and downforce is always impressive.
I thought it was extremely impressive, Beamer. I'll give you the 10 because no one else will. So let's move on. Bronson Stafford. We were at Brazil. I guess 2 weeks ago now. I missed that race because I had a child. I guess life calls.
Congrats, I guess, for doing the deed.
Is it a
and all
congrats
that.
or is it a well sucks for you? No, just kidding.
I'm really proud of all your hard work to make that happen.
Yeah.
No, so a lot of people didn't believe. I'll call myself one of the doubters. But Bronson Stafford back in form, or is this just a one-off? What do you think?
No, I think Bronson's back. I mean, not that he left for a little while, but I don't think skill-wise Bronson ever left. I think there's just certain tracks that he has trouble with. He deals a lot with not liking the physics of the car in this game with the what he feels is a lot of understeer. But I think the combination of him and Bob working together, building those twitchy setups, I think it's working out great for Ferrari.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy that if he put an hour or two of practice into, he would dominate D1, no issues. So, yeah, he never left. He's always been here.
I'll consider myself one of the doubters. I don't think it's anything against Bronson, but since he's left like 2 seasons ago, Div 1 has changed a lot, and it's gotten really sweaty, as the kids would call it. So
The kids, aka Duncan.
no,
Right.
yeah. It's gotten a lot more difficult to definitely get a podium or a win, and I think the fact that he comes back and the first 2 races kind of struggled a little bit. Definitely at Imola, I think he had a little bit of technical issues, but yeah, it's just for him to prove that he's still got it. I don't know if it's something that I would think I'm going to continue to see out of Bronson. I don't think he puts in enough work in the current formation or format of the league, but I guess we'll see if he can prove me wrong. But moving on, we had Razor Senna, the Brazilian, winning his home Grand Prix. That's got to feel good. Revis over at Mercedes, what do you feel about that?
I'm very happy with it. In fact, I'm kind of surprised to see McLaren doing a lot better than Mercedes. Like right now, they are up in the constructor standings, and that's all down to Razor. Tom's had a couple of okay races, but in fact, I think he DNF'd. I have to go look at the standings again. But yeah, man, it's down to Razor, and Razor honestly right now is looking like I would have made a wise decision to put him in one of the 2 Mercedes seats. I mean, Jack and Victor are having great seasons, but I mean, you cannot argue with what Razor's doing right now in the McLaren.
No, you really can't. Razor's been incredible. I have to be honest, I didn't expect this at all. He I thought maybe he'd be a top 10 driver, but he's competing for a podium every week, and it's just kind of crazy to see him come this far. Adam, you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, Senna and a McLaren, it fits, right? So,
It does. You're right.
yeah, I mean, great for him to win in Brazil. I think he actually said that it's like one of his worst tracks in the game.
Mhm.
Which is funny being
So
his home track, but yeah.
right, yeah. I mean, I like Coda. I'm not great at Coda, so for it being
Right.
my home track, I don't know.
Yeah, I understand.
But yeah, congrats to him, and you can tell he takes stuff very seriously, and
Mhm.
I mean, coming out of the gates running in D1, and it's impressive to watch.
Yep, he's definitely a great driver. And actually, speaking of great drivers, let's move on to Division
Well,
2.
before we
Go
move
ahead.
on, I want to make one more point about
Yeah.
that. Is you got a message from Razor before the season began. This is his first season in D1, and what was the
Yes.
prediction? And what was the goal he set for himself?
He said he wanted to get a win. So I guess his goal's
Yeah.
achieved. He can just peace out now, right?
Well, no, I think he actually said he wanted to win the drivers. Didn't he? Didn't he say he was gunning for the championship?
You're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so right now he is clear of Travis by 13 points after Travis had the bad qualifying.
You're right.
So
Unfortunately,
he is actually
this week at Japan, I know he's I think he's out of town or something, so he won't be able to make
Right,
it. So
yeah.
that sucks to be P1 in drivers, and then
Yeah.
have to.
But it's good to have that little gap when he comes back next week.
Yeah, that's true. All right. So moving on. Great drivers. Let's talk about Division 2. That crazy photo finish between Johannes and Hudson. Wow. Were you guys tuned into that race and seeing how close those two were the entire time?
Yeah,
That was ridiculous.
It was insane.
Yeah. Hudson stepping up for AlphaTauri. Was it AlphaTauri? Red Bull. I'm trying to make sure I'm the right. He was in Honda. Yeah. So for Alpha, I didn't know what to expect necessarily. I've seen that he's put down good time trial times, and I really didn't know. But to see him come in and just like take Division 2 by storm was pretty impressive. I think that eventually down the line, this guy's gonna have a seat in D1. Just got to give it time.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I mean, strategically, Johannes biding his time, waiting for that last, building up that ERS, waiting for the last turn, coming out and pulling down the straight. That was incredible to watch. I think probably we can say that's probably the best finish we've had in ZRL
I
so
can't think
far.
of a better one. Yeah.
It absolutely insane, and obviously as the Alpine boss is fantastic to watch, just that much sweeter. So
Yep, and I think they literally finished like 3 thousandths apart. So it doesn't get much closer than that.
yeah, when it comes down to transponders, which transponder crossed the line first? That's when you know you got a good race on your hands.
Maybe it wasn't that Johannes was faster. Maybe he had the longer car. You know?
Yeah, there you go.
Indeed.
All right, so let's move on to just generically the domination that is occurring in Division 2 from Alpine. Ethan and Johannes have kind of just taken over. Let's go ahead and take a look at the constructor standings real quick. In first place, we have Alpine with 173 points. They've got the most wins, the most podiums, the most poles. I think they've got a pretty comfortable lead. Ferrari's sitting there in second place, but I don't even think that they've got much of a challenge unless Alpine were to mess this up severely. Adam, how did you put this team together, man? What'd you do? What's the secret?
Well, I think Johannes was an easy pick. Unfortunate that as far as lag and everything goes, that he's over in in Europe, and it makes it really hard for him to be in D1. So kind of an easy pick there, as he really is D1 talent in D2, and took a bit of a leap of faith with how consistent Ethan was last year in season 2. Didn't DNF, so I felt like that was going to be a strong choice. He's gotten much better as far as consistency goes, and a little unfortunate in Brazil with the penalty and how that shook out. But I mean, top fives and everything so far. So barring penalties, so I've been very pleased with Division 2's performance so far.
And Revis, what do you have to think, or what do you think about Ethan? Is it for real, or is this kind of just like, his time's coming, the consistency isn't there? We know Ethan has a problem with consistency, but is it going to come around to bite him at all, or is he going to keep it clean?
And that was the only reason I didn't select Ethan with my first pick, is because of the consistency issue he had. It wasn't all down to him. Like there was some people he raced around in his first season that didn't help his case. And but I just wasn't convinced we were going to see this. I wasn't convinced we were going to see this Ethan. And that's the only reason I didn't pick him first. I'm not disappointed with my picks. But looking back, yeah, that was definitely a missed opportunity for Mercedes to let Ethan fall back to Alpine.
Yeah, I would have to say I am a little surprised by I'm not surprised Alpine's in first. I'm surprised by how far they're in first. Because there's a lot of other really good drivers in Div 2. And I think that the amount of domination they've put down is almost disgraceful to those drivers the way it looks. But I expected Johannes to do this. Maybe not 3 wins, but I expected him to be getting at least 3 podiums by now. And I can't say I expected this from Ethan. So as long as he continues to do this, it might end up just being Alpine kind of running away with it. But I also know this week Ethan has taken up a new hobby of iRacing, and word on the street is that he's put in very little to no practice so far in Japan, and I don't know if that could come back and bite him, but I've made that transition quite a few times, and it can be a little rough. So
I would say that the saving grace there probably is that he drives on the Logi wheel in iRacing and controller for F1, so you're not trying to pick up different brake. I know for me, coming, because I race everything in the simulator, coming from iRacing, which is more dedicated to tire models and all that stuff, and actual brake pickups, and it's almost impossible for me to come back to F1 once you've done iRacing and other sims like that. So
well, and then even just going between ACC and iRacing in the exact same car is hard enough, and then you have a completely different physics model and car handling in F1, and it's like you forgot how to drive those cars, like you've never driven them before.
Yeah, and I will say I'm glad Ethan's not on my team for iRacing. Yeah, he's got a long way to go. He's
he's still young too. Dude, he doesn't even drive a real car yet, so it'll come. Speaking of struggling, Ethan's driving issues struggling. Let's go from one end of the spectrum. We're talking about how great Alpine is in Div 2 to let's flip it. What's going on in Div 3 with Alpine?
Yeah, I'd like to put a finger on that one. I think Marino's just he said he's had some bad luck. Watching back the races, how much does he put himself into those situations versus catching a bad break? But I know in Brazil and in our first race this season, got off to like losing his front wing very first lap, so always hurts. I know Dom has kind of messed up some strategies coming into the pits, put wrong tires on at times, spun coming
some front wing issues too. I know.
Or just a random spin, maybe on an outlap coming out of the pits or something like that, having to go right back into the pits. So yeah, we've had some. I think a lot of it, if we could get our consistency down and just run a strategy, right? We just need a race, not necessarily fighting for podiums or anything like that. We just need a race where the strategy plays out. We do our 1 pit stop or our 2 stop strategy, and we don't have to make any extra pit stops or anything like that. And I think we can get this thing back on track, fight for a midfield, maybe 4th or 3rd in the constructors, save the season.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of buzz going around that Marino was not the right pick, especially kind of looking at, if you take a look at, we'll take a look at the D3 standings real quick. We got Axelize and Buzzgod and OG that are specifically Axelize and Buzzgod who are kind of just running away with it. Marino's all the way down in 11th place, I believe, so he's really kind of struggling to start the season. Yeah. Revis, what do you think? Is this a bust of a pick, or is this just Marino's going to come around and his time will come?
Well, so Marino is in the chat right now, and I just want to tell you, I want to make sure you're listening. Turn this up, gather your family around. You're trash, dude. And Adam screwed up. No, I think some of the issues we actually saw some of this the other night when we were running some practice sessions. Siggy and Marino, it looked like, came together several times on Marino's screen, but on Siggy's screen they were nowhere near each other. So I think with him being in Italy and being in the center of the European continent, so far away from our East Coast servers, that's causing some of his issues. I don't think it's all down to him in particular. We know he can drive. We know he can be quick. He just has not been able to put it all together and be consistent yet. And I think he's been working a lot extra this week. I think he is ready for that redemption. And I think at the end of the day, he's going to be right there near the top and screw it up again.
Wow.
Wow.
So not a lot of faith for Marino. As we take a look at the constructor standings for
Love
Div
you,
3 real
Marino.
quick. Alpine is sitting down in, what is that, 8th place. So what should be the top team in the league is sitting down in 8th place. Not the kind of season they're wanting to start. But let's move this topic on real quick at one of the most surprising, in my opinion, situations going on in the Div 3 constructors. We have a Haas, who should be one of the bottom 2 teams in the league, sitting currently in a very competitive P5 too. We got
also leading in DNFs.
I was gonna say,
yeah, also most DNFs,
with DNFs. So
yes, so we have
sure.
Nux and Flossin. If we want to take a look at the D3 driver standings again real quick, Nux and Flossin. Flossin's pulling 36 points and Nux is pulling 31. So both drivers steady in the midfield. I think that these two drivers honestly might have been slept on. What do you guys think?
Well, Nux also had fastest lap at Brazil.
Yes.
So you can't discount that. I mean, she's a quick driver. It's just, again, like we've talked about with so many other drivers, it's a consistency thing. And then there's been some other on-track issues that are not necessarily her fault, but she's gotten involved in some situations that have made her life more difficult as well. So we'll just kind of leave it at that. Those are internal and steward discussions. But
yeah, looking at how their performance has been so far, Adam, do you feel like this is kind of their peak and this is all coming down, or is this something you think that they can keep up with?
Oh, I think they can definitely sustain this. Are they going to be able to fight Red Bull and Ferrari? No, but you don't expect that from Haas. But I mean, Haas's first year in F1, they finished 5th in the constructors in real life. So I think 4th. There's not a huge separation. I just looked at the standings. Not a huge separation between 3rd and 8th. I mean, you're talking less than 30 points. So, with our point structure, just put in finishes. Be anywhere, from top 5 to 12, and you're going to get solid points. And at the end of the year, it'll shake out to anywhere from 4th to 6th in the constructors easily. Put in some top 5s and some podiums. You're talking, maybe 3rd place in the constructors, if Red Bull and Ferrari can keep up their consistency, obviously. So
one thing I want to say about that, though, is don't sleep on Mercedes. Remember, Vitor had to miss the first 2 races because he was out of town with family, and then at Imola. Was it Imola? Yeah, the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, Imola. We had both Mercedes go out because they got too close to a wall going 2 miles per hour. And those would have been top 10 finishes for both those guys because they were flying up to that point. So just because it looks funny on paper right now, you take Siggy's DNF out, and let's say he took Marino's spot and got those 12 points. Well, now he's up to 77 points. He's winning the championship right now.
Yep.
I will say this in the same vein that you're talking about my guy Marino. If only and just for candy and nuts, and every day would be the Dunk Fest. So you can't look back at it and say, well, if we got to look forward and say, we need to actually get these finishes and get these points. So
it's everything you guys are saying is true. So moving on from our past week's recap at Brazil, let's go ahead and move on to what's going on this week, starting last night and moving on to tonight. We've got a race at 8 o'clock tonight. We've got our Division 3 race. And tonight we got our Division 2 race as well, 2 hours after that at 10 p.m. Find those on our YouTube channel. What do you guys think about the Japanese Grand Prix? I know you guys are veteran racers. You've definitely taken many laps around Suzuka. What's your thoughts on it?
Love Suzuka.
Love it.
Love the track. Can't say that I'm fast there in any car on any sim, but I love the dynamic nature of Suzuka. There's no, you don't say it's a high speed power track or a technical, let's say a Red Bull track. In a sense, it has a mix of so many different corners that it makes racing and driving just an absolute joy. And like you said, it's both, like how you put it in the chat earlier. You get counterclockwise and clockwise
Yeah.
racing. It's amazing. I love that track, but very, very tough track to be consistent and to be fast at. Especially those. I mean, you can ruin your whole lap in the first four corners.
Yes.
Those S's, if you don't hit them right, it throws a whole lap away. So, yeah, it's going to be tough for the drivers. Overtaking, you got to pick your spots here.
Well, we've only got one DRS zone, right? Am I remembering that right? Yeah, only one DRS zone. There's a long straightaway where you can get a pretty good tow.
Yeah,
but
between
only
Spoon
one.
and 130R.
Yep. So I've driven a lot of laps here this week because I felt like I needed it. This track is, best way I could put it is it's a lot of fun. It's really hard to put a lap together like completely. I'm curious how qualifying is going to go. We usually see these D1 qualifyings that are so tight, like from first to last is 4/10 or something. It's so hard to like put that really good lap together in Japan that I don't think it's going to be that close. I think that you'll have some people who almost like in a sense got lucky and they got that lap, and then the other people who they didn't get that lap. And it's just like it's not even so much of a like how good you are, but maybe like how consistently you can run those fast laps, how much you can pump those out when you need to. Because I've been able to pump out a fast lap. Now recreating it, not so much.
Right.
The other thing about Japan and Suzuka is
The curbs.
What's that? Yeah, the curbs, and specifically in the first sector, there's a lot of potential for spins, and a lot of those spins end up in high-speed collisions with the wall. Revis, I was gonna ask you, how many safety cars do you think we're gonna see this weekend? Is there gonna be a lot, or are people gonna be careful and maybe not so much?
So I think that we are getting now to the point in the season where, if you're a driver in the sort of middle 6 to 10, you can't afford to be the cause of a safety car. You can't hurt your teammate like that, and you can't afford to start losing points and falling further down the order. Especially some of these drivers that have missed a couple races or already had some DNFs. So you've got to be thinking about stability over the course of the lap rather than outright speed and expect everyone else to make the mistake. You cannot do anything that's going to put you in the place that makes the mistake. So I think we're going to see probably one or two per race, but I don't think we'll break two in any of the three divisions. And I'm willing to be wrong on that, but I think the guys and gals are going to be smart about it this week.
Yep. And then on the flip side of that, I will also say I think that all teams in practice this week, from at least from the Honda side, I would imagine other teams are doing this as well, are more or less preparing for a safety car, because it's probably most likely, if you're going to play out the odds of the race, you're more than likely going to see a safety car. And the last thing I was going to bring up about Japan is the aspect that the weather. We're really likely to see rain in Japan. You see it a lot. So let's take a difficult track and make it more difficult. Why not?
Exactly. But
Right.
and that's one of the things that we stress over Mercedes. We haven't been doing as much as we did in the first couple of weeks, trying to let it be more organic, let the guys over there start to take the lead. See who can naturally, the cream rises to the top, right? And people that want to lead are gonna lead. And so trying to figure out what we can do to best maximize our practices, and part of that is what do we do with the wet? We can't just ignore it, especially if we were going to Bahrain, like we're not going to practice the wet because you got a 0.01%
until it
chance
happens. Yeah, I've
until
seen
it
it on
happens, right.
YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah. But a track like Japan, when you're at Silverstone, Monaco, you got to think about these are places, arid climates, or not arid climates, but more temperate climates where there's a good chance of rain because they're right by the sea.
Yep.
So you have to think and not just show up and be like, I'm gonna drive fast. Like you have to think about the variables as well.
Absolutely. So let's move on to my favorite part of this show from last week. Everyone loved that we did this. Let's go ahead and let's do our predictions. Or I don't even know if we're calling it predictions at this point. This is more or less the
Boom and
curses.
bust.
Yeah, this is
The
more or less
curses.
how we decide to curse drivers. So let's go ahead. Let's start with Adam over here. Give me some of your D3 predictions. Give me one boom driver you think that's gonna really perform well this week, and then one bust driver that you think just might not work out well this week.
For my boom, I'm gonna curse Ziggy this week. I think honestly he'll be in fight for a podium, top 5,
Yeah.
top, fighting for a podium. We expect Buzzgod and Axel Eyes to be up there fighting for the win.
Mhm.
So let's say my bust this week. I think OG puts in a bad week this week. I
Yeah.
don't know.
And that's actually a good one,
um,
I don't want to like come up with an excuse for OG, but he hasn't put in a lot of practice this week because he's been out of town. So
I was just about to ask,
Yeah.
how's the practice sessions been going, but it sounds like they haven't been going much at all. So,
Yeah.
OG will be my pick for the bust.
All right,
Sorry,
Rebus, what
OG.
do you got?
So honestly, I don't. Did OG ever actually? He's still tentative right now, so he may not even race.
Yeah,
So
it is last
if he
second call,
races,
yeah.
my boom will be Spanini because Spanini will be filling in for OG, and I know he's ready. So it'd be kind of up. So Spanini will be my tentative boom. But I think we're going to see a good week this week from Raz. I think he's overdue for a clean race where he doesn't net code into somebody's face or spin for a stupid reason. So I think Raz is going to be up near the front again, and I think it's his boom week. My bust week, I'm gonna go with Alfa Romeo, just sort of in general. Haven't seen those guys on a lot. They don't seem to be super active right now. I know Buffalo and Leaf have both been busy, but I just don't see any movement at all from Alfa Romeo right now, and so I think they're gonna be an even further disappointment at this point.
Yep. Yeah, I'd have to agree. It's been kind of a disappointing season for them in general, so I wouldn't be surprised to see it happen again. For my boom pick, I'm actually gonna go with someone who's hot right now, and I think that they're gonna keep it up. I think it'd be really cool to see him keep it up. I'm probably gonna butcher this, but Gudmundur Flossen. Did I say that right, Revis?
Close enough, yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
You can work on your Icelandic for
you
next
know
week.
what? I'll do it in my spare time. Yeah, so I think Flossen's gonna come back, man. I think he's on for another podium at least. He's improved a lot this year. I think that we're finally starting to see him come around, and maybe he's kind of feeling like a little bit. I've talked to him a little bit, and he's a little
Overlooked.
Yeah, he feels a little overlooked. Not so happy about ending up at Haas in Div 3. Feel like he's a better driver than that, and yeah, maybe he's right, and I think he's gonna have another good week this week. Bust this week, AlphaTauri in general. Unfortunately, we only got one driver this week serving a race ban, but I think that next week at Monaco we'll be back to form. But yeah, unfortunate for AlphaTauri this week. So let's take it on and move to Div 2 predictions. Let's go back and Adam, we'll start with you again.
Well,
so Flossie actually says, haha, worst butchering of my name I have ever heard.
Oh no, dude. Listen, I'm so
Siggy.
sorry. I will reach out to an Icelandic translator and have them explain how to say your name.
And Siggy also in the chat and says, thanks a lot, Adam. Ready for the walk of shame tonight after parking my go-kart in the wall.
no problem, buddy.
Oh man. I really hope I just didn't curse Flossen, by the way. I really do.
I'm fine if you did.
I hope not. You
need to knock them off their high horse.
Yeah. So Adam, Div 2 predictions. What do you got?
I am gonna surprise you guys because I'm gonna go against my own team here.
Okay.
Johannes is gonna have a bad night.
Oh.
And by bad night, I mean like
a podium.
Fifth to third.
Okay.
But a bad night for for somebody who's on a three-peat right now. So I'm gonna call him out. He said he's been playing iRacing all week.
Oh, it's fair.
So
the iRacing bug has been getting a lot of people.
It has. I still have faith that he'll put in good points, but as far as busts go, I mean, I would consider that a bust for Johannes for somebody so fast. So that's my bust. My boom this week. This is going to be a tough one. Let's see. I'm going to say, boom. Snoop is actually going to put in a good race.
Wow, and what's considered a good race for Snoop at this point, though? Top 10?
Top 10.
Top 10.
8th to 5th. I'm calling 8th to 5th for Snoop.
Okay. Actually, yeah, if he does, I'd be impressed.
Now, he's not going to have a spirit animal Connor with him, though.
Oh, Connor's out this week? Oh.
Yeah, Connor.
But Connor has not been playing they have not been playing great together. So maybe this is what we need here. Little separation is good.
Well, maybe you're right. Revis, what do you think? Div 2 predictions. Give it to us.
Div 2. So I am actually going to start with my bust, and I think my bust is actually going to be AlphaTauri. I think that this is going to be a rough week for AlphaTauri across all 3 divisions.
Oh, wow.
Just calling my shot on that one now. But my boom, I'm going to go outside my normal box, and I think Sleek is back on form. And I think Sleek is going to be in the top 5 tonight. And I think it's not even going to be close. I don't think there's going to be any doubt that Sleek is all the way back to what we've always expected him to be. And so Ferrari getting the good showing they've been waiting for out of Sleek.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I would love to see Sleek come back and start competing for wins. Honestly, I don't know. It's kind of hard in Div 2 saying that because Johannes is so good. I'm gonna give an honorary mention for a boom on mine. Because I think that Hudson is racing in Div 2 tonight, and Hudson Poole is racing in place of
Shaggy.
And yeah, in place of Shaggy. So I think that he's probably gonna go for a podium, and I'll give that my honorary boom because I think he's almost. I say honorary because it's expected, but he's also a reserve. But yeah, I think he will still have a good race. And then my real boom I want to say is I think Big Mama Frank has not been performing the way that we all know he can. For Mercedes driver, he's sitting down in P17, so it's time to turn it around. And I think Big Mama Frank's going to do that, and he's going to.
Yes, please.
Yeah, he's going to come around, and I think he's at least in for a top 5. But it'd be really cool to see him get a podium.
Yes, sir.
And then for bust. I hate to do it to him, but Japan is such a hard track, and Ethan Patel has not been around for this whole week, and I don't think it's just one that you can hop on and not practice. So yeah, Ethan, I think you're in for a DNF, and people are gonna be memeing you in the chat, but there's not a whole lot I can do about it. You should have practiced, bud.
Well, I will say, this will be an interesting dynamic because he got the AlphaTauri drive last week and did really well. So is Hudson gonna Pierre Gasly this thing? He gets the big boy seat tonight.
Yeah, he gets Red Bull seat. Yep.
Can he hold up to the Red Bull second seat pressure? Second seat.
And
pressure.
Shaggy has been really, really good for us in Div 2 as well. Like he's just a consistent top 5 driver, and it's just like, I mean, anything that Hudson can do as long as it's top 5. I think Shaggy would be probably a little bit disappointed as well as the rest of the Red Bull team that if he didn't end up getting us some decent points to help out the team. Div 1 predictions. Adam, what do you think? Throwing you on the spot. I know,
I know, right?
Sorry.
No, you're good. I think, man, the Razor's not racing this week. Hoofda.
Nope. Yep. And instead of him, we have Hunte, right? Is that right, Revis?
Yeah, Hunte will be stepping in.
Yeah, I think it's
okay.
Hunte. Yep.
I am going to say that for my boom, Victor. He showed signs in Brazil last week.
Oh,
he's gonna make it this week. He's gonna be, I would say, top 2 for Victor.
Yeah, I would say that's a pretty good one. Victor's always solid, so it's hard to go wrong. So.
And then for my bust, we'll say. Oh man, haven't really thought. I'm gonna say Ian's gonna have a rough week. I know picking Alpine twice here. He's talked in the chat about how much he hates this track. So
okay.
Ian, I don't DNF, buddy. Get us somewhere in the top 10. We don't have Peter this week, so we really, for D1 to stay competitive here, Alpine needs two finishers. So Ethan and Ian, we need them from you, buddy. So we got a top 10 finishes. Let's go.
Yep. All right, Revis, what do you think? Give us your Div 1 predictions.
So my boom, I think we're going to see a good result from the Williams boys. I think they've been overdue for both of them finishing well. They both did all right in Brazil. If I remember correctly, I had to look at the standings again, but let's see, what do we get there? Yeah, they both finished. They both got points, but I think there's just so much more left in what Damien and Ryan can do, and we just haven't seen it yet. So
yeah, Damien's actually a quick driver. There's a lot of people who I've spoken to, like drivers outside of Division 1 who've been like who's Damien? They're like, I don't really know a whole lot about him. Damien has like at times shown extreme pace, and especially in qualifying, he's had a couple, I think, top 3 qualifyings. So don't sleep on him. Just because he's in a Williams car doesn't mean that he's not fast. He's definitely capable.
He's still
in
Div 1. I mean, he wouldn't be in there if he wasn't quick.
No, that's true. Yep. So.
And then for my bust, I think actually this week we're going to see a rough go from Ferrari. I don't think they're going to be able to repeat what they've done the last couple. Last week before it was kind of bad for Bronson, but yeah, I think it's going to be a bad showing for Ferrari this week.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree. For the same reason that I said Ethan will be bad, we know Bronson doesn't practice. He's just going to show up and race. And even though Suzuka is a traditional track, I don't know how well it's going to relate from previous games that he may have played. So I think that Bronson specifically, I don't know about Bob. Bob will probably do decent, but Bronson specifically will probably have a bad race, just because of the lack of practice. And because I said that, he'll probably do great. That's actually not who I'm choosing for my bust pick, though. For my bust pick, I am going to choose... Well, I was going to say Jack Pemberton, but Jack Pemberton's out this week. You know what? Let's go ahead and we'll say that Pylon he's not been performing as well as I think he has. And just from talking to him, it sounds like he's starting to kind of like check out a little bit. He just really wants to get a win or a good placement to kind of like get back into the thick of things. But if the mentality's not there, sometimes it's hard to get going. So I think the Pylon might have another bad race. Hope not. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that me saying that means you do good. And then for my boom pick, I'm going to go ahead and say someone who's had a really bad season so far. Not really bad, but Will Graham in the Haas. He's kind of had a rough start to the season. But what I will say is I saw some promise out of him when I was watching the Div 3 Brazil race. He tried an alternate strategy that didn't work out. But for a little bit, he was sitting in top 5. And he had a clean race. It just more or less was... he was on the wrong strategy. So I think if he gets put on the right strategy, I think we could see Will Graham getting a top 10. So.
Certainly possible. Yeah, he did really well. And he kind of had that same strategy call that Tom had a couple weeks ago where you just stay out and stay out and stay out. And you're just praying for a safety car. And if the safety car hits, then you look brilliant.
Yeah.
When it doesn't, then you fall down the order because Div 1's so close. It's not like you can... pit from P2 and come out P5, you're going to be shuffled back to the midfield.
I want to say that I saw that he was on 28 lap old hards. I could be wrong on that, and you might want to check me, but I'm pretty sure he was on like extremely old hards trying to make it work. And it was impressive if it would have worked, but yeah, the safety car didn't happen or the pace wasn't there, whatever happened. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see how he does this week. I think that's all we have for today. Revis or Adam, any last second comments on before we head into Japan this weekend?
Hey, good luck to everybody. It's a tough track, especially if it rains. Be patient. Stay off those exit curbs; they'll throw you. So
they absolutely will. Yep.
So yeah, be patient. It's going to be a battle of attrition. Don't force an overtake, and where it DNFs both drivers. So. Be patient.
Revis, you got anything or
pushing too hard in sector 1, you're just going to hurt yourself. Find other places to make up that time. Just try to be consistent in sector 1, and then let the spoon to 130R complex be where you make up speed to the car in front, or a spot where you make your defense before the chicane. Easy peasy.
Absolutely. So yeah, guys, if you aren't already, go ahead and subscribe. Click the subscribe button down below. If you're interested in joining Zoom Racing League, we do race every Friday and Saturday. We have races tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern and 10 p.m. Eastern. And then Sunday night is our Division 1 race, Premier Division. We race at 8 p.m. Eastern, and we also have a Friday night Academy Division. So if you want to get in on the racing action, there's a link to our Discord down below. Go ahead and join. And you can be a part of this amazing family we have here. So, yeah, other than that, tune into our broadcast tonight. And thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you next week on Wake Up with ZRL. Adios.
Bye.
Have a good